Welcome to Manifest Anything You Can Imagine podcast, the podcast that empowers you to turn your dreams into reality using the law of attraction. I'm your host, Papi DiNuzzo, and together we'll dive into the mindset, strategies, and energy shifts you need to create the life you've always envisioned. Whether it's health, wealth, happiness, love, relationships, or spirituality, inspired by my transformative book, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, each episode brings you practical tools, inspiring stories, and bold insights to unlock your limitless potential. Get ready to manifest your greatness, and let's dive in.
Give a fish, teach to fish, delivering hope. A Paying It Forward self-improvement and personal development charitable community outreach initiative. Founded, supported, and funded by DiNuzzo Private Wealth, Inc. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. Papi would love to get his message out to as many people as possible. So if you know of any group or you're having an event that would love to hear his message, you can book Papi to speak for free to your nonprofit group or organization that would benefit from hearing his message. And what an important message it is. Just imagine your group coming together to hear his message of positivity, and being reminded of their goals, their purpose, their high achieving mindset, not to mention his inspiration, his hope, his abundance, and peace of mind. So now let's go over to Papi to set the table. Good morning, Papi. How are you?
Mikey, how you doing? Thank you so much. I'm so happy and grateful. Now, today is a magnificent day. I loved your intro, your opening. And just thinking about groups, Mikey, these groups can be anywhere with the wonders of modern technology. I did a presentation yesterday, actually, to about 65 teachers and children in Nakuru, Kenya, which is about 4 hours outside of Nairobi, Kenya. And it was a wonderful presentation. We were going to go 45 minutes and have 15 minutes of questions and answers. And then the teacher, Miss Pamela, was so pleased that we went over. I think we ended up going about an hour and 15 minutes because she wanted all the feedback from the students. We had a lot of questions and comments and thoughts at the end. So again, this can be anyone, anywhere with wonders of modern technology. We can set up a virtual meeting, and we're happy to share this message. The message that I share with you is one of hope, inspiration, abundance, and peace of mind, that each of us, every single person listening right now has creative power within you. And this is the most powerful force in the universe, that you can manifest anything you can imagine and create and live your own life. The life that you're living today is the accumulated effect, the culmination of your thoughts, your feelings, and your intentions, your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your intentions from yesterday, the day before, week before, month before, year before. That's the life we're living today. So no one controls that. You only have one thought in your mind at a time. No one tells you what that thought is. You're 100% in control of that. The law of attraction is like attracts like. If you think good thoughts and happy thoughts in your head, you're going to have good and happy coming towards you. If you think bad thoughts and negative thoughts, you're going to have bad and negative coming toward you. It's the greatest rule in the universe that you're allowed to create your best life, anything you can imagine, but it's just not a one-way street. There's light and darkness. There's yin and yang. There's a front and a back to everything. So be extraordinarily careful with your superpowers. And it was really a very heartwarming essay, Mikey. These young students, 13, 14, and 15 years old, out in the middle of Kenya, Africa, the questions that they had and the feedback they had, and going throughout the slides and some of the ones that they liked more, it was tremendous feedback. It is very heartwarming. So again, I speak for free to any nonprofit organization, anything even closely resembling a not-for-profit organization in any way, shape, or form, group, organization, whatever it may be. And we can have our outreach through virtual presentations anywhere across the globe. So thank you for that, Mikey. And then the other thing I think, Mikey, is that my audiobook came out, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, in audio about, just hold the book up again so some people more visually oriented. So Manifest Anything You Can Imagine came out on audio, on Audible, about a month ago, maybe 6 weeks ago now, and just getting extraordinarily good feedback from individuals who are listening to the book as well. And I read it myself, and the universe says anytime we meet, if there's a presentation, and emotions and feelings are so important, and there is literally an exchange of energy between us. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, nothing can grow if there's not energy given to it. So the only thing that can grow, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, is something that energy is given to. So you need energy, and the emotions are exchanged, especially face to face, but even on a virtual meeting, there's an exchange of energy, and even listening to someone or someone's voice and the message can be very powerful. So I know some of our fellow brothers and sisters, Mikey, are more maybe in tune. Some of us learn by just visualizing and reading. Some of us will read and write things down. Some of us will read and say things out loud. So there's a lot of different ways our fellow brothers and sisters learn differently than others. There's no best way to do that. But just to mention that to you, if you do that, I found for maybe 21 straight days, even listening passively in the background, you could be at your desk, you could be at home, you could be online, whatever you're doing, but even taking that positive message in for even an hour a day when you're not even actively listening is providing a tremendous amount of benefits. I've heard from quite a few people who've reached out to me. So that's very good news. So thank you so much, Mikey and Suzanne, for setting up a wonderful show today.
Well, it sounds like you had a magnificent day yesterday, so that was
Yes, that was
awesome.
a magnificent day.
Yeah, it sounds great. 65 people had their whole entire day changed, and, I think that's awesome. Like, I think we talked about in the past webinar that if you think like a child, magical things will happen, and there you are in front of this group of 65, young people at such a critical stage in their life, just keeping them in that magical mindset, that is gonna remain positive, and I think that's such an important thing to do. I just love that, and I just can't wait to hear about their questions and the feedback that they had. So anyway, speaking of positivity, we send out a weekly email with 2 concepts to live by, and it just reminds us of that positive message. And I know that some of us are surrounded by negativity a lot. So I know that you talked about you want to talk today about 2 concepts to live by. Do you want to start with that?
Yeah, Mikey. And then you just reminded me too about some of the comments from the students yesterday. So just so I don't forget, when we did the question and answer at the end, it was just amazing. These are 13, 14, 15 years. It was about 50% audience, male and female. And the questions that they had and the comments that they had, and you could have not have designed it better, Mikey. At the very end, we had questions and comments. And then Miss Pamela, the teacher, said, Pap, we got one more question or comment. She said, the student made it clear it was a comment. One more comment from one more student. And then I asked the student, I say, can you please share that with me and with us, the audience, what you got out of today's presentation? And this student said, imagination is everything. So that's what they took away. And that was very heartwarming that's what they took away out of the presentation. So talked a lot about imagination, about building dream boards and vision board. They like the word dream board better. So I was talking with them about how to build a dream board, talk about the visualization with emotion, talking about writing some things out, but they really, a lot of them really took everything to heart. And as I said, Mike, even with them, these are young adults, 13, 14, and 15. I reminded them numerous times throughout the presentation that all I do is offer suggestions. Some of these things may or may not make sense to you. The way that you're doing things in life, you may be phenomenally successful and you don't want to look at making a change or anything. But a lot of people are really struggling, Mike, and we are all to live. The universal benchmark, so to speak, is we are all to live in prosperity. And there's different definitions of prosperity, but there is to be no pain, no anger, no poverty, no strife, fear, doubt, worry, anxiety. Those are extraordinarily atypical. They are not in harmony with the universe. We all literally have creative power within us to be able to manifest anything we can imagine. So as you said, Mike, we like to send out some of the concepts to live by. These are reminders. And again, I recommend something if you can play these in the background and listen to them. And a couple of the ones, we won't be able to cover them all today since the last show that have come through. But I think a very important one, Mikey, is one that's called Paradigm, Paradigm, Paradigm. And our audience members, if they've been with us for a little while, have heard us talk about our mind. So when I say, if you think about your mind, and the first time I talk to anyone, if I ask them, what do you think your mind is? They'll say, well, I think it's my brain. And you've heard me say before, our brain is no more of our mind than our nose or our toes are. So our mind is a combination, and one of the most powerful images, if not the most powerful image I've ever witnessed my entire life, is by Dr. Fleet when he rediscovered this back in the 1930s. So if you just think of this, it's a stick figure, just think of drawing a real large circle around your head and put a horizontal line through the middle and put a C for your conscious mind on top, put an SC in it for your subconscious mind at the bottom. Again, your SC, the bottom half of that circle is like a bowl, like the bowl of cereal that you ate your breakfast out of this morning. It's the bottom half of the circle. It's the bowl. One little line, a small circle down here for your body, one line up for your hands and arms, one line down for your legs on each side. And Mikey, in this paradigm, in our subconscious mind, in our subconscious mind, this bowl is our paradigm. And our paradigm is basically think of ourselves like a hard drive computer. It's our wiring. And remember we said earlier, Mikey, if we think good thoughts, we're going to attract good. If we think bad thoughts, we're going to attract bad. Now, how this comes into us is what's called suggestions or auto-suggestions. Suggestions are things we hear from people outside of ourselves. It could be the TV. You could be online. It could be social media. It could be your mom, your dad, brother, sister, friend, relative, whoever this is, any human being or any source of technology or media that's coming into you, and that comes into your subconscious mind, and that's where it resides. Now, auto suggestions are the most wonderful thing, Mikey, because that is suggestion from ourselves to ourselves. So we can give ourselves the greatest, most powerful, effervescent suggestions all day long about how good we are and and how great we're doing today regarding health, wealth, happiness, relationships, love, career, whatever it is. We get to build our life going forward into the future. And these auto suggestions are arguably the most powerful force in the universe. Now, Mikey, talking about paradigm today, the challenge is, and not that it's an insurmountable challenge, but you always want to know what the challenge is so you can pay attention to it. The challenge is that for the first 6 or 7 years of all of our lives, our subconscious mind was in place, the bottom half of that circle, but there was no conscious mind. There was no top half, the dome on top, which is our shield. So our conscious minds were not developed enough yet so that we can cancel, reject. And yesterday, Mikey, with the students from Kenya, they got a real big kick out of canceling and rejecting, refusing to participate, flipping the script affirmations. We talked about that as well. And I'm never going to give up my heaven on earth. So they liked all the little different techniques to cancel and reject. So once we get older, if someone says something ridiculous to us that we don't agree with, that's not in line with our values, it's not in line with our values, we say, I reject that. I cancel that. I refuse to participate with that. We do not let that go into our subconscious mind. If it goes into our subconscious mind, you are the ruler of your kingdom. Your subconscious mind says, you are the boss. You allowed this to come in. I am going to immediately take action on making this happen for you, good or bad, whatever it is. So thousands, Mikey, tens of thousands, maybe hundreds of thousands, maybe more suggestions came into our paradigm before we were 6 or 7 years of age, before that top half, our conscious mind was developed, and we could cancel, reject, and protect ourselves. So we've got that in our paradigm. And I always joke around and think everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people have, I think of my family, not like to say a crazy uncle, but, somebody like really says things that are just off the wall, way out there. I'm thinking, whenever I was around, some relatives, whatever they said, all that went in there unprotected. I didn't cancel or reject anything. So all those things are in there. Now, equally important, Mike, or even greater importance, as we get older, Mikey, how many of us allow people to say things that were against our values, not in alignment with us, were negative or maybe even super sensitive negative suggestions that we did not cancel or reject? Those went in. So you start to think it's like our hard drive, Mikey, getting wired. It's like our hard wiring that's inside of us. So what we get to do for the rest of our lives, Mike, is basically, if there's hundreds of thousands of negative suggestions in our paradigm that have built our hard wiring that are going to restrict us. So one of the biggest ones, Mikey, is I'll ask individuals when I first meet them, and if their focus is on money, they want to earn more, better career, whatever, I'll ask them, what's the most amount of money you've ever made in your life? Let's just say that they say $50,000. Now, that is so hardwired, Mikey, into their paradigm, especially the older they are. I mean, even at 30, but 40, 50, 60, that is so hardwired in their paradigm. They're telling themselves, that's all that I'm worth. I can't find a job more than this. Nobody will pay me more than this. Why even bother to apply for a job that is paying more than this. And if they were able to apply for something, let's say it was 60,000, maybe 70, they would start telling themselves, their paradigm is going to start telling them, you're overreaching here. This is going to blow up on you. You're going to be embarrassed. If you were worth that amount of money, somebody would have paid you before. This is the struggle, the challenge that we have with our paradigm. So whenever we're having challenges, when human beings hear anything negative, Mikey, and these negative thoughts come into their head, it's typically coming from your paradigm or from that top half in our conscious mind. Our conscious mind thinks that it knows more than anything. And our conscious mind produces 5% of everything that happens in your life. All the success you have on earth, 5% of it will come from the top half of the circle from your conscious mind. 95% will come from your subconscious, your subconscious mind. And Albert Einstein said that our subconscious mind is a sacred gift, while our conscious mind is a faithful servant. But our society has flipped things around and treats it the opposite. Our subconscious mind is where 95% of all good that happens is going to happen in our life. So we want to start on rewiring our paradigm. And what do I say, Mikey? We call it our daily ritual. And once you develop good habits, you're replacing bad habits with good habits. And at the end of the day, it doesn't take any more time to accomplish and manifest anything you can imagine, because you've eliminated a lot of bad habits and replaced them with good habits. So I talk about, Mikey, thinking about this as a bowl here. And what do we do? And once we recognize how the universe works and how much power we have inside of us, this creative power and this ability we have to manifest anything we can imagine, I say we're going with one hand every day, and we're taking out a bad habit, take out another bad habit, take out another one, come with the other hand, putting in a good habit, put in another one. And this is how we're getting 1% better every day, Mikey. We don't need to do this for 1,000 or 10,000 days. Once we string together enough 1% better days, we can have a quantum leap. So you're getting better. You're going up like one step at a time, another step at a time. You're improving, moving forward. Then you will have a big leap forward, a very big leap, a quantum leap forward in health, wealth, happiness, love, career, relationships, whatever it may be. So our paradigm is our hardwiring, and the most important part of the mind that I would suggest in our subconscious mind, the bottom part of that bowl. And we want to manage our paradigm. We're all old enough to now to know and understand what I just talked about. So we're going to be very conscious about this and proactively manage this on a daily basis. The next one, Mikey, I would talk about, well, we'll talk about two today in the concept a little bit. The next one I'll do is perpetual increase of life. And I love talking about this one. This is just the greatest concept on earth. So I am so happy and grateful now that universal intelligence, universal conscious mind, universal light created a perfect and infinite universe of universes, all operating under perfect and infinite universal laws. And Mikey, these laws, the human laws that we would understand very straightforward, very simply are, let's say, the law of gravity. No one who's listening today would argue with the law of gravity. We just take that for granted. Most of us don't understand exactly technically how that works, but we take it for granted. Yes, that's a law. That's part of the universe. These laws are equally or even greater value. The law of energy, the law of as above, so below, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, the law of perpetual increase of life, the law of perpetual transmutation of energy. Energy comes into form, it goes through form, and comes out of form. So when we understand these universal laws, this is how the universe works, then we could get in flow, is what I call it, and get on that raft and ride that raft downstream. Don't be fighting this. Understand that there is a stream. Understand you do have a raft available, and this is making progress when you're on that stream moving forward. Get in that raft, understand how it works, let the universe help you. So, Mikey, there's nothing more exciting that I think of is the perpetual increase of life. We are here on planet Earth. We're eternal spiritual beings having a limited physical experience. We're here and we are eternal. It is the key word, eternal spiritual beings. We are here to further express, expand, increase, and grow. There's nothing more exciting than that with whatever we want to. You want to do more in your area of health. And just a reminder to our audience, Mikey, what's the number one rule for health? Your body, as a rule, must listen to you. It must listen to your mind. There's no ifs, no doubts, no any ifs, ands, or buts about it. Your body must listen to your mind. You can manifest anything that you want to regarding your health. There is to be no disease, nothing that's unhealthy with our bodies. You can correct that. So we've got this ability for perpetual increase of life to further express, expand, increase, and grow. You like to go fishing, you could do more fishing. You like to paint, you could do more painting. You like to garden, you could do more gardening. You like to help your fellow brothers and sisters and express love and help them with the gifts that you have, whatever it is on earth, a residence, house, career, relationships, a perpetual increase of life. And I say, I thank goodness all the time when the universe was created and when everything was together and the creator said, I'm curious, I want to learn, and I want you to go out and experience, and I want you to express, expand, increase, and grow, and bring this information back to the collective, to what you would call the universal subconscious mind, for sharing that. So it's been growing for more years than we can even express in human terms. But the perpetual increase of life, I can't think of anything more exciting that all of our listeners, Mikey, for them to have the belief that this buffet of buffets is set in front of them for their enjoyment. They have the faith in themselves that they have a perfect spirit, perfect spiritual DNA, that they have a perfect spiritual spark within them, and they contain the most powerful, the most awesome power in the entire universe, creative power. We've all been given creative power to manifest anything we can imagine and to create anything. I can't think of anything more exciting than that. So perpetual increase of life, that brings a smile to my face every time, and sharing this information with my fellow brothers and sisters. I mean, even the children on the talk, so you could tell, eyes were widening, when it's sinking in the suggestion. I say, just take my suggestion and see what you think about it, that you contain this creative power and all knowledge of all time resides within you in your subconscious mind.
Oh, that's great. That's great to know that we all have that power inside of us to really increase our life. You just have to remember to, like you talked about, cancel and reject those negative thoughts. I mean, that is just so important in order to increase your perpetual increase of life. Um, and like you said, just use that shield, your conscious mind, use that shield that we talked about in the previous webinars, kind of like that's your superpower. That is how you're going to keep those negative thoughts out of your paradigm, keep that negative influence out of your paradigm. Just let that stuff just bounce right off of you. And of course, that takes practice to do that. It's not going to come easily sometimes for some of our listeners. And that's why we have you with our coaching tip. And what is your coaching tip for us today?
Yeah, Mikey, that's a great segue again. And you just reminded me that sometimes people say, Pappy, I hear you say things and I've heard you say it before and you said it again, or I've heard you say it a couple times. And my rule of thumb is the more times you hear me say something, my memory is still 100% as sharp as a tack. The more times you hear me say something, that's how important it is. So, Mikey, one of the most important tools that we have to be able to manifest anything we can imagine is repetition. So think about what I was saying earlier. You've got tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of bad, negative suggestions have gone into your subconscious mind. You need to be very disciplined and have a lot of repetition and consistently turn this. It's almost like an arm wrestling situation where you didn't even know that there was an arm wrestling challenge going on, and this is you on this side, and it's been going like this and like this, and these negative suggestions. By the time you hear about this the first time in your life, you may be way back here on this side. You got to come all the way back up. We're going to pin this to the other side where you can manifest anything you can imagine. But, we don't want to get overwhelmed with the challenge, but there is a good bit of work to do in a typical situation with manifesting anything we can imagine with these negative suggestions. Oftentimes, Mikey, in the hundreds of thousands, it could easily be over 1 million is what we're working on. So that is called what's happened, Mikey. And the reason for me repeating, Mikey, doing repetition so much, getting us in our daily ritual, and we want to be using repetition with our good values, with these good values that we have, with these good habits that we have, rather. So with our good habits, repetition, that's the key for us winning this at the end of the day, to manifest anything we can imagine. So what happens, Mikey, what I talk about is, are you living your life right now, our listeners, outside in, coming at you, or inside out. You're living it inside out. It's estimated, Mikey, about 98% of our fellow brothers and sisters are living their life outside in. So think of all these arrows coming at you, almost like a military drill, where you've got your conscious mind and you've got all these incoming missiles coming at you, missiles, bombs, hand grenades, whatever else it is. Things you may have heard from a parent or another parent, aunts, uncles, brothers, sisters, friends, relatives, teachers. It could be anything, social media, online, the television, news. Think about all these things. I was watching the other day, Mikey, Steve Harvey, and listen to Steve Harvey some. Just go out and listen to some of his. Start with $0. Grew up in abject poverty, lived out of his car when he was in his 30s. I believe he was in his 30s, Mikey, for 3 or 4 years. Penniless. When he was 10 years of age, his teacher made fun of him in class because he had a horrendous stutter. Horrendous. And his teacher pulled him up in front of class one day and made fun of him in front of all the students. I mean, what about that going into your subconscious mind? So there's a lot for a lot of folks. And again, we don't ever live in the past. We just forget that. We reject it. There is no past. There is no future. There's only the present. Stay present, stay aware, stay conscious in this moment. We go through these things, and oftentimes they're for lessons. And oftentimes we said, yeah, I want to go through that. And I want to beat that. And I want to beat that down and win that. That's one of my lessons I came here for. But again, our subconscious mind, our paradigm, repetition, good habits, more good habits every day, eliminating bad habits. This is our key to success. So again, always be patient when you hear me repeat. These are mission critical, that 98% approximately, if it's not 98, might get something very close to it, of our fellow brothers and sisters are living their life completely outside in, or the supermajority outside in, coming at them. And what I say, catching spears all day, jumping on hand grenades, putting out fires. It's all coming at them. They're not controlling anything. Take in through the universe this power, this spirit, this energy. Take it in and let it flow through you. Your conscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your body. Your body's an instrument of your mind, and it flows out of you, vibrations and vibes. It was funny, Mikey. I had 5 or 6, maybe 7 class-wide questions to the students yesterday in Nakuru, Kenya. And the one that most of them knew, when I would ask, do you know this person? Have you ever heard of this concept? And when I talked about vibrations, it was between 95 to 100% of the students put their hands up and started talking about, and they were very active. They're talking about vibrations and vibes and going through like what comes out of us. So these are 13, 14, 15-year-olds in Nakuru, Kenya, who are very well wired in on the vibrations that are coming out of us. So just think about how much of this we should know. So this one, Mikey, is one that I talk about an awful lot because it's at the heart and soul of manifesting anything you can imagine. And the manifesting coaching tip today we're focusing on is visualization. So on my Vega coin I carry with me in my pocket all day long from sunrise to sunset or longer, visualize with emotion your goal in gratitude and take action, VEGGA. And visualization is at the very beginning. And that is how we manifest, Mikey, anything we can imagine. If we can think it in our mind, we can hold it in our hand. And visualization is even more powerful because of all of our 5 senses, sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. Visualization is the strongest. So we want to incorporate this in our manifesting daily ritual. We can do it, Mikey, if we have a short period of time, 3 times a day, say morning, afternoon, and at night, even just for 30 seconds, Mikey, a minute or 2, visualizing. And on your largest goal, your 10X goal, this is your largest goal, your 10X goal. It's going to provide a quantum leap in your life forward regarding health, wealth, happiness, career, finances, relationships, love, whatever it may be. You're thinking about it in the morning, afternoon, evening, and even just do a snapshot of that. What is that snapshot that would equal success, that would mean that you have achieved your goal? And I say, like, a real straightforward one would be, you've never owned or bought a new car before, and you see yourself in this picture shaking hands with the salesperson in the new car dealership. You're shaking their hand. Your hand is in theirs. You're shaking their hand. And in the other hand, they're handing the keys to this new car, handing those new car keys to you. And that new car is right behind you. So something like that, very, very specific. And when we visualize, the more specific, the better. So visualization, we can do this any time of the day, Mikey. I'll get folks who will tell me sometimes they'll say, Pappy, it seems like, or how many days do I have to do this? Do I have to do this on a weekend? This is almost like, Mikey, if we've ever heard anybody say, whenever, you'll meet someone and say, hey, Fred, man, you look great. You really, it'll be, and Fred will be, yeah, Pappy, I'm 30, 40 pounds less than I used to be. And I've been this way for a few years now. And you'll ask him, say, Fred, congratulations. That is wonderful. Congratulations. How did you do it? I'll say, I tried this diet and that diet, tried another diet, like a yo-yo up and down. And I'll say, Pappy, until I made this part of my lifestyle, where it wasn't something special, it wasn't this fad I was going through, it wasn't this yo-yo up and down, but I just made it part of my lifestyle. And what did they do, Mikey, making it part of our lifestyle? Took out bad habits, put in good habits a little bit every day. And before you know it, you've reached an ideal body weight and you're maintaining that because you've incorporated into your lifestyle. So everything we're talking about is no more time or effort involved. Visualization is very easy to do. We can also use our feelings as well. We can manifest with our feelings, feel our way into our day. And that's how I recommend working on our daily, weekly, monthly goals, etc. But for our big 10X goal, the one that's going to 10X your life, that domino that's going to knock over the most dominoes in your life, we want to use one of the most powerful tools, or in a tie for the most powerful tools on earth, visualization. And visualize your goal with emotion. Visualize it with emotion. Visualize your goal with emotion, and always give gratitude. When you are, Mikey, as grateful as though you have this new car, it's in your garage, you're driving it every day, you're enjoying it, driving back and forth to work, you're enjoying it on the weekends, and when you're convinced that that is your life, when you don't even have the car yet, when you're that grateful for it, it's a done deal. It's guaranteed. It's on its way to you. It's never an if. It's never an if. No how. It's only a when. When it will be delivered. It's on its way to you. So visualization, use that very powerfully, at least for short periods of time. If you could do something where you have a longer period of time, I recommend try to do at least 3 days a week, maybe 4. And this could be when you're exercising. It could be when you're meditating. It can be one woman that I coach has things that when she runs her sweeper, she gets in a zone and things will come through her. She's opened up and she can visualize. She puts emotions into things. With some of our other brothers and sisters, Mikey, I get a lot of comments that this is very strong for individuals in the shower. A lot of our fellow brothers and sisters will visualize or visualize with emotions or emotions in the shower and have tremendous results. Water is a conduit to the universe. So that one makes a lot of sense as far as anything to do with water, but there's a lot of different techniques we can use for visualization. But I would say it's at least in a tie for number one ingredient for you to be able to manifest anything you can imagine.
Well, I like that coaching tip. That's probably one of my favorites just because it's such an easy thing to do, especially if you're new to manifesting. Like right now where I live, there's just so many road constructions, there's just detours, there's road closures. So I think it's a great time to listen to your audiobook while I'm in the traffic, but it's also a great time to practice visualization. So what I like to do is I imagine myself getting from point A to point B with the least amount of traffic and obstacles. And then I see myself arriving there safely. And, so visualization can be used like for your small everyday goals, but it can also be used for like maybe your 3 most important tasks that you do. It could also be used, like you mentioned, your 10X goal. So you can use it wherever and whenever for little things, big things. And when I get to my destination, I always say, I am so happy and grateful now that I arrived here with no traffic, the fewest amount of obstacles. And so that leads me to your affirmations. I know that you want to share one of your affirmations with us today as well.
Yeah, Mike, we thought for tying in with visualization, one of the affirmations, and I have pages of these in the back of my book, and these are just to stimulate your thought process. Everybody thinks a little bit differently. Customize these and create new ones on your own that are very specific to you and really ring in your heart of hearts. The one I want to share today, Mikey, is I am so happy and grateful now that I focus on the importance of my imagination and frequent visualization of my goal and mental image, coupled with my unwavering burning desire, emotion, high vibration, buoyancy, belief, faith, and continuous gratitude. So a little bit longer way of saying the Vega coin again there, Mikey. Visualize with emotion your goal in a constant state of gratitude and performing action. So again, this one ties in with using your imagination, which is where everything starts at. Again, everything on earth is created twice, once in your mind, my mind, or someone else's mind, in our imagination and our thoughts. So everything's created twice, once in someone's thoughts, and then a second time the physical object back of it. So again, visualization, extraordinarily powerful, and it doesn't take anything. It's almost like structured daydreaming, so to speak. You've always got time. You just be thinking about something. You're at your desk in that 15 seconds, like you said, Mikey. You can just visualize a safe trip, a safe that you reach your destination safely. It could be something as simple as that as driving. You're baking a cake, and you want a happy outcome whenever you're done baking your cake. To visualize and or apply emotion works like a charm.
It really is such a good habit.
Yes.
So now we've come to the part where it's called like our speed manifest dating questions, where we let our audience members ask Papi a question. And if you have any questions, you can submit your question on the website by clicking the Ask Papi link at the top. And today's question is, there a technique that I can use to help me believe in the manifesting process?
Yeah, Mike, what I would say with believing in the manifesting process, and that's really what started me on my journey with my life of manifesting anything you can imagine, is that we all have this ability within us. And anyone who knows me knows that I like to ask a lot of questions. And whenever I first found out about this and I I reverse engineered it, so to speak. And when I cracked the code, it was like the greatest aha moment of my life. I'm like, this is how this works. And whenever we understand that, so the technique we could do is we can start off, Mikey, with small things, just with something real small. It could be a cup of coffee. It could be a new purse. It could be a new pair of blue jeans, tennis shoes, whatever it may be. Someone could start off with something small and just allow yourself. What I find, Mikey, is to do an assessment of where we're at right now. I talk about write down HWH and grade yourself out and just say, how am I doing regarding my health? A letter grade, like you're in grade school, A, B, C, D, etc. Give yourself a grade for your health, the W for your wealth, the last H for your happiness. And that could be happiness, could be career, relationships, love, whatever it is. And most people, Mikey, beyond the super majority, when I talk to them about this, they'll say, Papi, man, I got some bad grades here. I mean, I knew they were, but I never like really nobody thinks about giving yourself grades, really taking a really hard, stark look at it. And I'll just talk to individuals, Mike, and say, would you be willing to consider that there may be a different way of doing things than the way you've been doing them for the last 20, 30, 40, 60, 80 years? And oftentimes folks will say yes. Now, there's a lot of times also, Mike, that they don't say yes. But maybe not so surprisingly, 3 days later, 3 weeks later, 3 months later, 3 years later, I get contacted one way, shape, or form. Hey, Papi, I was talking to you. Pick one of those dates in the past, and you were talking about this and didn't make any sense to me. I just woke up today or yesterday, or I just woke up, the other day, and this makes all the sense in the world to me. I want to give this a try. Can you please help me? So when you get in tune with your subconscious mind and open yourself up and eliminate these biases from your paradigm that you've built up over decades and decades, your subconscious mind will start to come through to you and lead you into this, and just follow your intuition. With women, when I'm coaching and teaching women, Mikey, they'll typically the word intuition rings a lot more true with them. When I'm teaching and coaching men, the word gut, GUT, works better for them. Like a lot of men will say, well, when I made some of the greatest business decisions, or when I was doing really good in my career, or whatever else it was, when I was doing really good in sports, if they were competing in sports, it's when I followed my gut. Well, by following your gut, that's the bottom bowl we were talking about, your subconscious mind that contains all knowledge of all time. And when you learn how to access that, that will tell you what's true here as well. So just go ahead. If you are not succeeding as well as you like to with everything else, just give this a try. But just think that if you believe in any type of creator, and again, Mikey, I talk from a spirituality perspective. I never ever mentioned religion or any religions at all. We're at the very highest point, completely neutral as to everything. But if you do believe that there is a creator of all, just looking at this from a spirituality perspective, do you think that the creator would have you come here and not give you every ability that you would need to be successful? Just think about that. It makes all the sense in the world. So the more you look at it, I think the more you'll get absorbed into it and the more sense it'll make to you. Now, just remember, Mikey, whenever you're doing anything, your paradigm wants you to stay exactly where you're at. Your paradigm does not want you to improve. It doesn't want you to ever make any more money. It doesn't want you to lose weight. It doesn't want you to be happy. It just wants you to stay exactly where you're at. So when you get pushback, which you will, when you're making any improvement in life, it's going to come from one of two places: from your paradigm, from that hard wiring, especially for 6 or 7 years, the first 6 or 7 years of your life went unattended, or from the top half, your conscious mind. And I call that your stinking thinking, or Dolores Cannon, I'll credit her. Dolores Cannon called our conscious mind, again, only 5% in the top half of that circle is produced up here. She called it Mr. Stupid. So Dolores Cannon, who was a genius at this, called our conscious mind Mr. Stupid, and other folks have referred to our conscious mind as our stinking thinking. So stay away from your stinking thinking, access all knowledge of all time in your subconscious mind. And I know in my heart of hearts that this will reverberate with you and you will start to be led down a path to success and happiness.
Awesome. Do we have time for one more question or?
Yeah, let's do what? Yeah, let's
Okay.
do the second one. Let's do one more, please.
Okay. How is it that anyone can manifest anything?
Okay, yeah. So this is good. So this one, I've already covered some of this in the previous question. This one just dovetails right into it. So how is it that anyone can manifest anything? Again, this is the gift that we all have. We have the gift of creative power. Once we understand, as I was talking earlier, how the universe is structured, it's just like understanding that there's more than 20, but let's just say 20 different laws that are the same as the law of gravity. So you wouldn't be underneath an apple tree and picking up an apple off of the ground and expecting to throw that apple up in the air as high as you could and not expecting that apple to come back down. You just wouldn't even think about it twice. You know it's coming back down. So once you understand these universal laws, which operate the entire universe, and you get in harmony with them, as above, so below, whatever you send up in your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your intentions, must come back down to you. It must come back to you. So that's where you get to build, by using your visualization, get to build the new you. What you send out in gratitude, I always think of gratitude as like more like sending it out straight ahead, Mikey, for some reason. But what you send out in gratitude comes back to you. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. This gratitude is coming back to you. So the more grateful you are, the more you're going to have. And I say, be grateful for the roof over your head, the clothes on your back, and the food on your table. Some point in time, you'd like to, as a goal, have a nicer roof over your head. You're allowed to do that. That's not being greedy. The universe is structured for you, every single listener, to further express, expand, increase, and growth. And you want to have a nicer house, you're allowed to have a nicer house. You can manifest that. Start to visualize with emotion so you can manifest anything you can imagine. The universe is structured 100% to co-create. And that's the key word, because the universe wants to express, expand, increase, and grow. If you want to express, expand, increase, and grow, then you put it together, the belief on one side, the faith on the other, you put it together, and then you can manifest anything you can imagine. But when this comes together, Mikey, we're talking about co-creating with universal power. And it's just all about, Mikey, I understand that there is a universal law, and that universal law is that stream that I see across the street. I'm going to go over to that stream. There's a raft right here. Instead of me just going there with my body, let me go in with the raft and ride that. I've got a paddle, but I don't have to hardly use it at all. Once I figure out this universal law and I go with the flow and let it do the majority work for me, I will have to do some action, but not nearly as much as we think we need to. Let go and let the universe do the work for you. Ride the flow to the greatest possible achievements of your life that you could ever imagine.
Well, that's something great to visualize too, just flowing down and just achieving all your goals. So that's awesome. So great
Yeah.
questions and great answers. And I also talked about, your audiobook and how I listen to it while I'm in traffic and playing it in the background. But I love also having the physical copy of Manifest Anything You Can Imagine, which is your book, because we talked about daily rituals. And one of them I like to do is just open up the book to a random chapter and just read the inspirational quotes that begin in each chapter. And I know you want to share one of your quotes with us today as well.
Yeah, thank you, Mikey. And I tell folks, just to remind everybody as well, when you get the physical book, and I tell folks this is one of the top things to do. When you get the physical book, I say go in the preface, there's a quote, and just go and read my quotes, any other individuals who I have quotes. I have 2 to 3 at the beginning of each chapter, and just read the entire book, just the quotes in the book. You will get a very good flavor for the content of the book. I get some people who are at a high state of vibration just from reading the quotes. I've got one gentleman, Mike, who's down in Florida, who I've helped teach a number of times and coach up. And he's had phenomenal success. Anytime he's like in a little bit of a rut, or his vibrations down somewhat, he'll just go into my book, and read a quote or read a few quotes. And he said, whatever it is, that the quotes in the book energize him. He said he loves the book. He's read it 2 or 3 times from cover to cover, but just the quotes help him tremendously. So there's a lot of great quotes in the book, and I've got at least one of mine in each chapter, but there are a lot of other, historic names that I quote throughout the book. So I would say, yes, as soon as you get a chance, please pay attention to those. The one I like to do today, Mikey, is from chapter 8 in my book, Manifest Anything You Can Imagine. And it's extraordinarily powerful. And again, tied into our content for today. So the quote is, it's from myself, Papi DiNuzzo. There is an abundance of opportunity for you to go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. Always find the direction of the flow and ride it. Let it and universal intelligence do the work for you and co-create with them. So again, Mikey, this abundance of opportunity to go with the tide, 98% approximately of our fellow brothers and sisters have not completely or predominantly or even moderately figured this out, and they're fighting this, going against the tide in one way, shape, or form. So you've got an opportunity to go with the tide, and instead of trying to swim against it, find the direction and understand these universal laws, get in harmony with them, and you will. People are waking up in the morning and they tell me, Mikey, I just can't imagine. It's like every day I wake up and I'm getting like hit in the head with a 2x4. What can go wrong? When you're waking up and expecting bad things to happen. So you wake up and you're expecting bad things to happen. That's all you think about. And then you walk out your front door and go out into the world. You're wondering, why are bad things happening to me? That's exactly why they're happening. So you have the ability to turn that around and flip that around, start thinking positive, and positive is going to come to you. And at first you'll be surprised. And after that, you won't. You're going to be in your good habits and on your ritual, and you're just going to be on a roll. You're going to be just in that flow, going with the tide, and abundance is going to come into you in your life. Hope, inspiration, abundance, and peace of mind. So thank you so much, Mikey. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Pappy, for all your positivity and your advice. And I want to thank you all for spending time with us today. If you're new to Pappy Mindset Coach, be sure you're signed up on pappymindsetcoach.com to receive Pappy's free educational emails and get access to upcoming live events conducted by Pappy to help you manifest the health, wealth, and happiness that you deserve.
That's a wrap for this episode of Manifest Anything You Can Imagine podcast. Keep those dreams big and your mindset unstoppable. Take one step today toward the life you're manifesting, because you can create anything you imagine. If you can think it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand. Visit pappymindsetcoach.com for more resources, and follow us at Pappy Mindset Coach on social platforms for daily inspiration. If you love this episode, share it with someone ready to transform their life. Until next time, stay focused, stay positive, and keep on manifesting your best life. See you soon.